Have you ever heard God speak to you? So I was doing a client's hair a couple months ago and I was telling her a story and I was like, yeah, when I was pregnant, I heard God speak to me. She was like, you heard God speak to you? And I'm like, yeah. She was like, oh, I don't think I've ever heard God speak to me, which she is a pretty devout Christian, and that was surprising to me. I am not a Christian. I will say that I probably resonated, or I probably would have said I was a Christian 3 years ago. And I was just super surprised when she said she had never heard God speak to her, because I just feel like, oh, you're a Christian. Like, that's probably me being judgmental. I'm not being judgmental, but... And then it dawned on me, obviously, not everyone has heard that or felt that. And the first time that I think it was the first time that I heard God speak to me was 6 years ago, because I was pregnant with my third son. And we were in church at the time. That's what I would have resonated more with the Christian belief. And I would say I was a Christian. We were in church, and our pastor was talking about Noah's Ark. And he said when the rain had ended, and God spoke to Noah, and he said, now go out and be fruitful. And I heard God say, you are fruitful. And it dawned on me, I was pregnant. We were not trying, we're like not trying to. We were doing like natural family planning. Anyways, so I had no idea that my period was even late. I think I was just like a couple days late at the time. I don't know, whatever. But I very clearly was like, oh fuck, I'm pregnant. Left, got a pregnancy test. Yes, I was pregnant, whatever. I've heard God speak to me numerous times, but it always happens more so when I'm pregnant. When I was pregnant with my fourth son that I just had about a year ago, I had got so many downloads. And when I say downloads, like God, universe, source, God speaking to me, download, like higher self, that's all in conjunction for me and my beliefs. So you'll hear me like intertwine those. But the day before I found out I was pregnant, I very clearly heard God say to me, this is your soul contract. And at first I was like, my soul contract? Like, what are you talking about? Again, I'm not trying to get pregnant. And when I was meditating when that happened, and when I opened my eyes from my meditation, I said, oh shit, I'm pregnant. Sure enough, went to Dollar General, got a pregnancy test. Yes, I was pregnant. Through that pregnancy, I got so many downloads. And if you know the journey of that pregnancy, my water broke when I was 16 weeks pregnant, and everyone was expecting the baby to pass and telling me I should terminate when he hadn't passed yet. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. But I got so many freaking downloads, and before my water even broke, I got the download like, your intuition is going to be really high during this pregnancy and you should listen to it. And I was like, okay, like whatever that means. And after my water broke, about 2 weeks into my water breaking, felt like I was mourning the loss of my baby, because they were saying, he will die, your body will miscarry, like it's just a matter of time. And 2 weeks into it, I heard God say, he is alive. And I knew with that statement, it meant he will be fine. Everything will be fine. And again, like I said, I just got so many downloads. We were told that when he was born, he would probably have to have a trach, because his lungs were going to be non-existent. I mean, he had lungs, but the functionality was going to be non-existent. And I was so worried about this trach, and I was walking around my hospital room because I had to be hospitalized prior to the pregnancy. Anyways, and I very clearly, again, heard God say, trust me. And again, I just knew, like, he's going to be fine. And I've had so many more too. But it is wild to me, I guess, that people haven't had these experiences, especially if you do believe in God and if you do believe in a higher power. If you haven't had these experiences, I suggest slow down. We pray all the time, dear God, please let this happen. Dear God, please don't let this happen. Dear God, what should I do? But we don't sit down and take the time and slow down and listen to what God is telling us. I believe that God and the universe is constantly speaking to you and giving you signs. And sometimes those signs can be really hard to understand. But like when you hear the voice and when you have the knowing and when you get the download, there's just this inner sense of like, like, yes, okay, I know that to be true. Like, don't question it. So again, my advice to you is if you haven't had these experiences, slow down, and try sitting in meditation. I think that's when my intuition got a lot more stronger. Just 5-10 minutes a day. Just breathe. Just say to yourself, breathe, breathe. And every time you feel your mind wandering, because it will all of the time, just come back to your body. Breathe, breathe. And in those moments, eventually, I believe, you will start to connect with Source and hopefully have some more intuitive pings or downloads. That's all.